So just some reminders before we get into the video. First reminder is to make sure that you're keeping an eye out and an ear out for the key word for this lesson. Reminder number 2 is to make sure you're taking notes. Include the date, lesson number, aim, and standards to help you refer back in your notes. Let's get to it. So today we're going to be talking about lesson 1A.1, so unit 1, lesson 1. Your aim is how can we use order of operations to solve real world problems. So this is your first lesson of 7th grade. It's just a review of 6th grade material. Order of operations basically tells you what order, what sequence you want to follow when you're completing your operations in an expression. So do you do multiplication first, subtraction, addition, etc.? Your operations are those 4: multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And then you have 2 others that you want to also include. Depending on where you went to school, what teacher you had, you might have learned it in different ways. This is the one that's most known. We're talking about Pemdas. That is your strategy. Now, Pemdas is not your order of operations. It's the strategy we use. Order of operations is just the order that we need to follow. So Pemdas, your P is going to stand for your parentheses. Any type of grouping, whether they're parentheses, they're brackets, absolute value, that we're going to review later on in this unit as well, you want to make sure you're doing whatever is in the parentheses first. If you have a different combination of operations, you want to make sure you're still following PEMDAS even within your parentheses. And we're going to see a couple of problems like that as well. Another way of saying this is the groupings. So I think a couple of other sayings are like GEMDAS, but GEMDAS, PEMDAS, same idea and same concept. E is going to stand for your exponents. Again, depending on which school you went to, you might have learned this in 6th grade, 5th grade, but you're saying that you have a base number, let's say it's 3, and then it's to a power, let's say 2, you're multiplying it by itself. So the number 3 is what you're going to be multiplying by itself, and then 2 is the number of times. So 3 to the 2nd power would be 3 times 3. 3 to the 3rd power would be 3 times 3 times 3. It's just repetitive multiplication. Now, with multiplication and division, you have whatever order comes going from left to right in the expression. So if you have division first, you're going to divide, and if you have multiplication, you're going to multiply. But you have to do it in the order of left to right. So that's always important to remember. Same thing with your addition and subtraction. Whatever comes first in the expression, going from left to right. So those are the key things with multiplication and addition and subtraction. So let's say if we had an expression that had 14 divided by 2 times 6, you're going to do 14 divided by 2 and then divide by 6, whatever the answer is. So let's try some examples. So our guided practice for number 1, you're going to watch me do, and then number 2, you're going to pause the video and try it on your own. So the first one, we have 3 to the 3rd power minus 16 divided by 8 times 4 plus 14. So if you want, you could always write your PEMDAS down the side. If you're not very familiar, you can always do this. It helps you kind of follow along and cross things off. All right, so we have no parentheses, so I'm going to cross that out. Exponents, we have exponents. 3 to the 3rd power. 3 to the 3rd power, like I said before, is 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. What I usually do is I rewrite the whole expression so I don't forget anything because that's very common among students. I also continue to highlight the next step that I'm going to complete. So the next thing on the list, we're finished with exponents. We have multiplication and division, but going from left to right. And if we travel going from left to right, we see that the first thing we want to deal with is division. So that's what we're going to take care of. Negative 16 divided by 8, or just 16 divided by 8. So we have 27. We have the subtraction. 16 divided by 8 is 2 times 4 plus 14. Again, still rewriting everything so I can keep track. All right, so now we have multiplication. We have 2 times 4. So we have 27 minus 2 times 4 is 8 plus 14. And again, we're finished with our next step of multiplication and division. Next step will be to subtract and then add. So 27 minus 8, and then you're going to add 14. You're going to get 33 as your answer. All right, so number 2, pause the video, try this on your own, and then we're going to come back together and go over the answer. All right, so we have exponents. 1 over 16 plus 1/2 divided by 2. I want to make sure I'm dividing. And 16 plus 1/4. I'm going to change this for common denominator. 1/16 plus 4 over 16. 5/16 as your answer. So 5/16 is your answer that you should have gotten following your order of operations. All right, let's look at the last one. So now we have parentheses. So make sure you try this one and then come back and we'll go over the answer. Okay. So parentheses, we're going to follow order of operations still. 12 divided by 4 is 3 times 3. 12 minus 3 squared plus 9. 12 minus 9 plus 9. Oop. If you notice, these will cancel out. 12 is your answer. So you should have gotten 12 as your answer. All right, so definitely try your work time, and I will see you guys in the next video.